Straight ahead, Emmanuel, one more time.
Look up.
And bend that smile again. And Ben, stay with me for a second, Ben. Over the shoulder, Miss Mortimer! Over the shoulder! Guys, this way right here. That right here, Joel, together. Face me, Joel, face me. Blow on a kiss. Face me. Thank you, Jeremy, right here.
And Mr. Marshall, should be right here. Right here. Right in front. And Mrs. Marshall.
Right here, nice and tight together, right here. Sandy, right here for me, Sandy. Straight ahead, stop, right here. That big smile.
Straight ahead, please. Look at both guys straight ahead, please. I'm not in this one.
Matt on your right, Matt on your right.
Right
Mr. Damon, sir, on your right here, sir.
And Mr. Damon.
Hey, Matt.
Right here, guys.
John, straight ahead, stay with me, John. Give John, be okay. Oh, hey.
And a little smile, Karen.
Taking a step forward for me. Sorry.
And the entertainment shredder. And Wick are coming in now. Hey! Perfect, perfect. There it is. Everybody up? Yes.
Go good.
She is so iconic and she means so much to so many people, and so I really wanted to honor that and yet try my own version of her. And what's the point of taking her on if you can't carve out new space for yourself? So I think it was that combination and that fine line I think everybody felt doing this film, was to honor it and yet create something new, Well, I just think it's such a, as my husband calls it, a joy bomb on your soul. So it's so overwhelmingly joyful and hopeful and such a great unifier. And I think that what more do you want at Christmas than to go and see something that just emboldens you and fills you with so much life, Well, we've waited 54 years to see her come back, and I've heard people watching our version, this Mary Poppins Returns, and just saying, I didn't realize how much I needed her to come back until I saw her coming out of the skies. And that just means so much to me, because I think she is this very poignant character who comes in and fixes everything and makes everything right again, but through magic and fantasia. And then she leaves again, but I think she makes it this beautiful sort of voyage of self-discovery for you and for the audience, to rediscover your inner child, Well, I think Marc Shaiman and Scott Wittman are such enormous fans of the original, which can only help because they never wanted to make the 2018 version of Mary Poppins, I think they wanted to imbue the whole thing with nostalgia and the music that they grew up being completely inspired by. I mean, Marc Shaiman says he learned everything from the original soundtrack when he was 4 years old. He just listened to it and was transported to this other place. And even at 4, he was like, why does this make me feel this way? And so I feel the music is just so full of feeling more than anything.
We seem to have brought a lovely London sky to Los Angeles, so the driving's a little worse, but it's a perfect setting for our film tonight. Oh, it's so gorgeous. I mean, Disney, they do it right. They do these red carpets right. My first film was actually a movie called The Odd Life of Timothy Green for Disney. I had a small part in that. And seeing a green carpet was the first time I'd ever seen one of those. So they always do it right. I mean, I don't think I would have had the guts to do it without Rob Marshall and Emily Blunt involved. Rob Marshall is one of my favorite directors of film musicals, full stop. I knew I'd be getting a graduate course in film school just by working for him. And then Emily Blunt is the perfect Mary Poppins. There's not another actress of our generation who could do this role justice the way she has. And from the second she stepped on set, she just was Mary Poppins. The kids listened to her. Adventures abounded. She was just Mary. I always say it feels like Marc Shaiman and Scott Wittman were writing in the room next door to the Sherman Brothers in 1964 because it has that timeless quality that they brought to it. I mean, that music doesn't date. Those supercalifragilisticexpialidocious belongs to the world. And I feel like Marc and Scott wrote a love letter to those original songs while carving out terrain all their own.
It doesn't seem real. I'm having a hard time accepting the fact that this is really happening. It's something like 60 years. I can't believe that they did another one and I'm in it. It's such a joy. It's like bookends for me, Yeah, they gave me 4 different versions of the dance. One easy one and one hard one. I said, I'm doing the hard one. And we only did about 2 takes. It just went great. Just went great from the beginning. Thank God. At my age, 3 takes would have been one too many.
Yes, it was really such a privilege. It felt like such a privilege, I think. And for all of us, it turns out that everybody in the movie feels very, very close to the original movie, and it was a very important part of their childhood, as I think it was of everybody's childhood that I've ever met. I mean, there's nobody I've met who doesn't feel like Mary Poppins was hugely important to them growing up. But in a way, of course, that's a huge responsibility and intimidating, but it's also feels like a great privilege. And when you all really love the thing that you're doing and you kind of, I don't know, you want to do right by it. And so it was exciting and fun and everything came from love, and there was no cynicism anywhere around, which was an amazing thing. Yeah, I think they did I just think Marc and Scott did the most incredible job with the music and of course it again all comes down to Rob because he was masterminding everything, but those guys are geniuses, and they managed to make this soundtrack or this compilation of songs that is both it had so many, had to fulfill so many requirements. It had to pay homage to the original movie, which it does. It had to feel somehow contemporary and right for the present moment. And it had to also be music that could be realistically listened to in the 1930s when the movie is set. And it achieved all of those things and more. And I think it was when I heard the songs for the first time, I really knew beyond a shadow of doubt that the movie was going to be wonderful. I think it's thrilling to think of them discovering Emily Blunt's performance in the film. She's extraordinary as Mary Poppins. She manages to make it all her own and not take anything away from Julie Andrews' brilliance. performance in the original movie, but she's a different version of the same character, and she's perfect and really complex. You know, she's a really many-layered, feisty, slightly scary, slightly sexy, very funny, earthy, and prim at the same time. So she's really nailed the nuances of the character in a way that I think is going to be very exciting for audiences to see.
It's just brilliant. I mean, it's wonderful to be here. It's wonderful that the film is finally going to be seen by people, because we shot it a year and a half ago, so it's been a long wait. Well, lots of people have been saying this, but I think it's coming at a good moment, this film, because it's a film that really celebrates life, I guess. I mean, it sounds like an obvious thing to say, but it's not something that films do much now, you know. And that's good also, but sometimes it's good to have a film that celebrates the simple joy of being alive, you know, and the joys of the imagination and of childhood and of simple things. Yeah, I think that Marc and Scott did the most amazing job, because, as you say, it completely stands alone, and I think it's a fantastic score. But it has I don't know what they've done. I don't understand music, but it has an echo somehow of those songs, doesn't it? And every now and then they weave in a tiny bit of the score from the first film too, which is very touching. There's something very beautiful about having seen two people that you'd last seen as children grown up, and I'm excited for them to see that. I'm excited for them to see. I'm really excited for them to see Emily's interpretation of Mary Poppins, which I think is tremendous. And from the moment she arrives out of the sky, you don't question anymore that it could be anyone other than her role. You know, she owns it entirely.